everyone. This is Dallas Johnson with the Automobile Dealer Training Association, and I want to walk you through the step-by-step process on how to gain your Ohio dealer's license. Dealer licensing laws in the state of Ohio have changed dramatically in 2015, so we're going to talk about some of those additional steps that you'll now be required to achieve in order to gain your dealer's license. The first thing you need to do is pretty self-explanatory, is you need to download and complete an Ohio dealer application. You want to take your time on this, ensure that you do not have mistakes, because mistakes on the dealer application can really hold up your licensing process. So make sure that you fill it out completely. Make sure that you answer every single question and initial every box that they ask you to do. That will ensure that your license is sent out as soon as possible. Now, also, every single dealer in the state of Ohio is required to pass an electronic fingerprinting process. This is a real quick, painless process as well. And the state just wants to make sure before they mail out your dealer license that you are not a known criminal, that you've never stole vehicles or done odometer tampering. They're going to require Ohio dealers to basically operate with a higher ethical standards than the average person walking down the street, because you're going to be entrusted to record correct figures, correct mileage statements, and you're going to be required to fill out a lot of paperwork that's very accurate. So, and the state also wants to make sure that you've never robbed a bank. So they do require us dealers to be of a higher ethical standard than the average person that's walking down the street. So you are going to get an electronic fingerprint, and you're going to have that sent in with your dealer license application. There's several links down here at the bottom of the page that'll show you exactly where to get your electronic fingerprinting done. You'll also need a business building. Every single dealer in the United States of America is required to operate out of a business building. Your business building, it must be enclosed, and it must be solely for the operation of your dealership. Inside this building, you are required by state law to have, office is going to need to have one desk, 3 chairs, and 1 filing cabinet. That's actually written into state law. So those are the minimum requirements for your office. And the Bureau of Motor Vehicles also wants to ensure that your office never becomes a storage area. So you want to make sure that it's uncluttered, and you want to make sure that it is solely being used for the operation of your dealership. Now, on the outside of the building, you're going to be required to have a display lot. And your display lot has to have room for multiple vehicles of the type you're selling, with a minimum of 3,500 square feet. This is a state law as well. This is where your selling activity is going to take place, and the Bureau of Motor Vehicles wants to know where your inventory is, and you're going to be selling it only at this licensed location. Now, the state of Ohio, they do actually allow you to have an expanded display lot, is what they call it. And that can be another lot that's less than 200 feet away from your dealership. A couple of things about your expanded display lot. Number one, you cannot have selling activity there. So if you are storing your vehicles at the expanded display lot, you won't be able to take one of your customers over there and show them any of the vehicles. You will have to have a licensed salesperson bring those vehicles back to the main display lot, and that's where you'll have selling activity. So if you do decide to have an expanded display lot, you must make sure that it is 2,000 square feet. Okay, so your main display lot will be 3,500 square feet, and if you do choose to have an expanded display lot, you'll need to ensure that it's less than 200 feet away from your business building, and that it also is at least 2,000 square feet. The state of Ohio also requires that you have a permanent business sign. They want your customers to know that you are in fact in business with the permanent business sign. And the minimum requirements on your sign are, number one, it must be permanent in nature, but you're also going to want to ensure that you have your dealership name in at least 6 inches high or larger letters. So you definitely want to have the business sign posted prominently somewhere near the office area, and you've got to have your dealership name on that sign in at least 6 inches high or larger letters. When you're sending in your application, you want to ensure that you're including photographs of your business building, your sign, your lot, and the inside and outside of your office. So you can mail in these photographs with your application package, or you can actually email them to Columbus, and they will put those into your files for you. Later on, we're going to talk about records. All the records that you have during this business are going to be stored at your business location. You're required to keep them for a minimum of 3 years. If you are an electronic dealer, you're required to keep all your files for a minimum of 5 years. So that's something that you want to keep track of. Record storage is going to be a very important aspect of having a dealer's license in the state of Ohio. The Bureau of Motor Vehicles is going to require that you keep your records in a very orderly manner at all times, That way, if they ever want to come in and take a look at your records, which can happen, and in fact does quite often happen, that your records will be in an organized manner, easily searchable by a Bureau of Motor Vehicle investigator. Now, another step before you get your license is you must apply for an Ohio vendor's number. You have to have an Ohio vendor's number, and the reason for this is so you can ensure that the tax that you're collecting from your customers when you're selling a vehicle is being transferred to the state of Ohio. So you can either do this online through the Ohio Business Gateway, or you can go to your local clerk of courts and they will walk you through that process on how to obtain an Ohio vendor number. This is a number that is required before you obtain your dealer's license, and you will have to actually include the vendor number on your dealer application. One of the steps as well is to register your dealership with the Ohio Secretary of State's office. The Ohio Secretary of State, they regulate business licensing in the state of Ohio, and they want to know every single business that's operating within the state limits, including the dealership that you're getting ready to open. So you're going to want to register your name with the Secretary of State's office. There are different types of regulations and registrations that you can do. You definitely want to get some legal advice on this, because us, the Automobile Dealer Training Association, we're not allowed to advise you on how to structure your business, nor is the Secretary of State's office. But they've got some great guidance there if you do want to give them a call at 614-466-2655. And a friendly employee with the Secretary of State's office will help you ensure that you are filing your registration paperwork correctly. Also, when you apply for your dealer's license, you're going to have to fill out an I-9 employment eligibility form. And that's going to show the state of Ohio that every single person that you are hiring is in fact eligible to work in the United States of America. So we have to hire legally. Every single person does have to be have legal eligibility to be employed in the state of Ohio, and the federal government requires that you are filling out an I-9 employment eligibility form. There's links to that down here at the bottom of the website. Make sure and make several copies, and always store one of those on each employee that you hire at your dealership's location. Another step, quick, painless, easy step, is to apply for a federal employment number, which is more commonly known as a federal tax ID number. Now, this is a number that's going to be assigned to your new business to ensure that your tax records are being kept accurately. And it's also going to ensure that Uncle Sam knows that federal tax ID number, so you will be required to pay the correct amount of taxes at the time when you do file for your taxes every year. So don't forget, you do have to have sometimes they call it a federal employment identification number. More often they call it a federal employee tax ID number. So you can do that free online. It takes you about 5 minutes to get this number, and you will need to enclose that number on your dealer application when you send that into Columbus. One of the final steps, or the beginning step, however you want to do it, is to set into a mandatory dealer educational class. The state of Ohio has changed the law, and beginning January 1st of 2015, if you have not been on a dealer's license, if your name has not been on a dealer's license in the last 2 years, you're going to be required to take a 6-hour mandatory dealer educational class. So in this class, they're going to show you the startup process. They're going to ensure that you're operating under state regulations, and hopefully they'll give you a little bit of profit advice in there as well when you are taking this class. So it is a requirement, and you've got to complete all these steps. And when you do the class, make sure that you have done the class no more than 6 months before you send your dealer application to the state of Ohio. So when you get all the paperwork ready, you can create that dealer application packet, which is basically a big envelope. You're going to shove all that paperwork in, and you can mail it to the dealer licensing section directly, or you can drop it off in Columbus. So whatever you do, make sure that you've got all the required documentation, and you should get that license back in about 5 to 6 weeks. And at that time, they will line up a lot inspection where one of the employees from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles will come to inspect your lot to make sure you've got a business building, make sure your display lot is 3,500 square feet, and they're going to also make sure that all of your paperwork is stored there and that your hours are displayed and that you have a working telephone. So good luck to you. This is one of the world's greatest businesses. There are just a few steps and guidelines that you need to complete before you actually mail in your dealer application packet, but it will be well worth your time, because this is one of the greatest businesses, and an Ohio dealer license will allow you to make a very significant income in a very short amount of time. So good luck to you, and let us know if we can help you. This is Dallas Johnson with the Automobile Dealer Training Association, and I want to wish you the very best of luck in gaining your Ohio dealer license.